In the age of imperialism of late 19th century, international relations were the critical factors that would affect the fates of nations or peoples. Korea was no exception. Japan, with the backing of the United States and Great Britain, defeated Russia in the Russo-Japanese War and annexed Korea with the agreement of Russia and the connivance of the United States and France. Korea, having no support from any global power, lost its sovereignty. Japan's tyrannical rule during the 1910s fueled the ire of Koreans. Following the end of World War I in the late 1910s, the creation of the principle of national self-determination galvanized independence activists in Korea. Korean independence activists in the United States, Japan, Russia, and other parts of the world took part in diplomatic activities and proclaiming independence. And within Korea, the nationwide March 1st movement took place, creating a unified voice for independence and sending those cries all over the world. Following the March 1st movement, provisional governments were established in Korea, Siberia, Shanghai, and other parts of the world, and all of these governments came together to form the Provisional Government of the Republic of Korea in September 1919. Moreover, within Korea, the capacity-enhancing movement, which focused on domestic industry and education, took place, while nationalist and socialist factions came together under a unified national party. In Manchuria, anti-Japanese military operations like the Battle of Pongho and the Battle of Cheongsangni were active. Such independence activities within and outside Korean borders played an important role in arousing dormant anti-Japanese sentiments. The Western powers supported Japan until the 1920s. Following the end of World War I, the Paris Peace Conference opened to create a new peace order. Kim Gyu-shik was sent to represent Korea, but the world powers, including the United States, paid little attention. With such hurdles, Korea's independence was a very difficult task. Throughout the 1930s, Japan instigated the Manchurian Incident and the Second Sino-Japanese War. This triggered an end of alliances between Japan and the West. In the 1940s, Japan advocated the Greater East Asia Co-Prosperity Sphere and invaded Southeast Asia. Tensions between Japan and the United States grew as the U.S. imposed embargoes on Japan. On December 7, 1941, Japan staged an attack on Pearl Harbor in Hawaii. Following the attack, the stage was set for the battles between the Allies joined by the United States and the Axis powers. Independence activities continued amidst rising Japanese militarism. The Provisional Government established the Korean Patriotic Legion, which planned various heroic struggles against Japan. In 1935, various parties and groups of numerous ideologies came together to create the Korean National Revolutionary Party. Around the Manchurian territory bordering Hamgyong Province, the Chinese Communist Party's Northeast Anti-Japanese Army's guerrilla units were active. Meanwhile, in Korea, Korean cultural preservation movements were active through activities like the Korean Language Society's standardization of the Korean language and research into Korean history. As Japan engaged in the Sino-Japanese War and the Pacific Theater of World War II, Korea's independence movement began to expand into military and foreign diplomatic fields. In China, the union of different independence organizations and the collaboration of leftist and rightist factions acted as support for the provisional government. In 1940, the provisional government proclaimed the creed for the foundation of Korea and established the Korean Liberation Army. In Hawaii, Korean expatriates established the United Korean Committee and financially supported the provisional government and diplomatic activities. In northeastern China, the socialist-leaning Korean Independence Alliance was founded and fought against Japan with the Chinese Communist Party. In Korea, Yo Eun-hyung created the underground Korean Restoration Brotherhood in August 1944. Japan was now facing the prospects of defeat. The United States started from the southern Pacific Ocean and fought northward against Japan. In December 1943, the heads of the United States, Great Britain, and China discussed the issue of Korean independence and issued the Cairo Declaration. The declaration mentioned Korean independence. However, the independence came with a condition of taking place in due course, which referred to a period of trusteeship. The Soviet Union's Joseph Stalin agreed to the idea of a trusteeship for Korea in the following Tehran Conference. In April 1945, U.S. President Franklin Roosevelt suddenly passed away due to a stroke, and his Vice President Harry Truman assumed the presidency. Unlike Roosevelt, Truman decided to get Japan's surrender before the Soviet Union began fighting against Japan. As a result, the atomic bomb was dropped on Hiroshima on August 6, 1945. In reaction, the Soviet Union, which had dragged its feet over fighting Japan, immediately declared war on Japan 2 days later on August 8 and began its march toward Manchuria and the Korean Peninsula. The United States dropped another atomic bomb on Nagasaki. On August 11th, Japan conveyed its desire to surrender. It was now the United States' turn to hurry. Soviet troops had already entered the Korean Peninsula on August 9, which led to the possibility of the Soviet Union taking over the entire peninsula. The United States proposed a division of the peninsula for joint trusteeship and suggested the 38th parallel, to which the Soviet Union agreed. Liberation finally came on August 15, 1945. People massed on the streets holding taegukis or Korean flags and crying for independence. However, the joys of liberation were soon overshadowed. The Soviet Union had fortified the 38th parallel and restricted the movement of residents even before the United States Army landed in Korea. The 38th parallel became something like a national border. Moreover, ties between the United States and the Soviet Union began to get strained. During a meeting of foreign ministers held in September 1945, the Soviet Union demanded joint trusteeship of Japan. But the United States and Great Britain refused. Following the meeting, Stalin pushed for the communization of East Asia. Firstly, Stalin issued a secret order to establish a separate government in North Korea. Secondly, Stalin ordered the Chinese Communist Party to resume the Chinese Civil War. As part of its plan, the Soviet Union brought Kim Il-sung in September to North Korea and established the North Korean Bureau of the Communist Party of Korea in October. In February 1946, the North Korean Provisional People's Committee was established, with Kim Il-sung as the chairman. It was for all intents and purposes a single government responsible for creating and implementing laws. The committee's first task was land reform, meant to completely change North Korean land division and society. Land was confiscated without compensation from landowners and freely distributed among farmers. In reality, it was merely a granting of farming rights. Moreover, the Soviet Union purged anti-communists and nationalized 90% of North Korea's major industries. In contrast to North Korea's rapid transformation toward socialism, South Korea still lacked direction. U.S. forces arrived in South Korea late, and prominent figures like Syngman Rhee and Kim Koo weren't able to return in a timely manner. The U.S. Army government insisted on waiting for consensus from the victors of World War II regarding Korea instead of implementing a new ruling order. In a few months after the liberation, a dense fog lay over the Korean peninsula due to the diverging paths of the two Koreas. How will this crisis be overcome? Korea, once again, needs courage and wisdom.